Listen to me. You get one life, not two, not three, one. And the biggest tragedy is not death. The real tragedy is living every single day without purpose, without direction, without hunger. Too many people are breathing, but they're not living. They're awake, but their dreams are asleep. And I'm telling you today, don't waste your life. You got gifts inside you that you haven't even tapped into yet. You got potential that's still wrapped up, unused, untouched. And every day you choose comfort over calling. You bury a piece of your destiny. Every day you say tomorrow, you lose a part of what could have been today. Hear me, life is not a rehearsal. You don't get a second version. This is it. This is the moment. This is the chapter that decides every chapter after that decides every chapter. And the crazy part, people waste years waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for someone to come push them. Nobody is coming. You gotta decide. You gotta wake up and say, I refuse to leave this world without giving every eye. I need you to understand something right now. Your life has value. Your time has value. Your dreams have value. Stop giving them away cheap. Stop trading your greatness for distractions that don't add anything to your future. You want to stop wasting your life? Then stop letting your feelings make decisions your future has to pay for. Stop hanging with people who don't dream, don't work, don't grow. Stop scrolling for hours and calling it a rest. Stop letting fear talk you out of what God already equipped you for. Your purpose didn't disappear. You stopped chasing it. You are stronger than your excuses. You are bigger than your past. And you are capable of more than you've ever imagined. But you gotta want it. You gotta fight for it. You gotta be obsessed with it. So today I'm challenging you. Wake up earlier, work harder, think deeper, believe louder, dream bigger, live your life with such intensity that when you take your last breath, there's nothing left inside you. No regret, no what if, no maybe later. Just I gave it everything. Because the worst thing in the world is not dying. It's dying with potential still inside you. So don't waste your life. Rise up, lock in, and go become the version of you that the world is waiting for. Purpose over pleasure is one of the most powerful principles you will ever live by because it forces you to make choices that your comfort will never agree with. Pleasure gives you a moment, but purpose gives you a lifetime. Most people waste years chasing what feels good instead of what builds them. And they don't even realize that every time they choose pleasure over purpose, they delay the future they say they want. When you start valuing purpose more than temporary feeling, everything in your life begins to shift. You start waking up with clarity instead of confusion. You start working with intention instead of hoping for motivation. You begin to understand that the things that feel good right now are from the same things that destroy the long-term version of you that you are meant to become. Purpose demands sacrifice. Purpose asks you to walk away from certain habits, certain environments, and sometimes even certain people. Pleasure never asks for anything. Pleasure only wants you to stay comfortable. But comfort is the enemy of evolution. No one grows in comfort. No one becomes great by doing what's easy. And no one reaches their potential by choosing what feels good over what is good for them. Pleasure gives you escape, but purpose gives you elevation. And you have to decide which one you want your life to revolve around. When you stop focusing on purpose, you begin to live differently. You stop waking up because you have to. You wake up because you are called to. You don't wait for excitement to work. You create discipline to build. You start looking at every choice as an investment. Is this building me or breaking me? Is this helping me or holding me? And the more you answer honestly, the more you realize that so much of what you thought you needed was just comfort disguised as importance. It was pleasure pretending to be something meaningful. Pleasure makes you feel alive for a moment, but purpose makes you come alive for life. The truth is, pleasure is easy. That's why most people choose it. Pleasure is convenient, and the human brain loves convenience. It loves shortcuts, quick escapes, and immediate gratification. But the problem is that nothing significant is ever built instantly. Anything that lasts takes time, pressure, intention, and discipline. Purpose is slow, but it is steady. Purpose demands consistency, and consistency is the greatest builder of success. When you choose pleasure, you're choosing a shortcut. When you choose purpose, you're choosing the journey. And your greatness is always found in the journey, never the shortcut. Purpose will require you to do things that pleasure would never encourage. Purpose will ask you to wake up when you're tired, to keep going when you're discouraged, to push when you want to stop. Purpose will test you over and over again. And the beautiful thing is that every time you pass one of his tests, you become a stronger, smarter, more disciplined version of yourself. Pleasure never tests you. Pleasure weakens you the more you depend on pleasure. The less resilient you become. The more you depend on purpose, the more unstoppable you become. Most people expect life to be meaningful while making meaningless decisions. They want fulfillment without sacrifice. They want progress without pressure. They want greatness without grind. But that's not how life works. You cannot live a purposeful life if your daily choices are controlled by impulse. Purpose is intentional. Pleasure is reactive. Purpose is focused. Pleasure is distracted. Purpose is committed. Pleasure is inconsistent. Purpose asks what matters. Pleasure asks what feels good. And if you allow your life to be guided by what feels good instead of what matters, you will always end up living below your potential. Purpose will force you to confront your weaknesses. Pleasure helps you hide from them. Pleasure gives you entertainment. Purpose gives you transformation. You can spend years escaping your problems through pleasure and never grow a single inch. Or you can use your purpose to face those problems and rise beyond them. A purposeful person doesn't run from pain. They use pain. They don't hide from failure. They learn from failure. They don't chase comfort. They chase calling. When you choose purpose, your priorities change. You start valuing your time in a way you never did before. You begin to understand that every hour given to something worthless is an hour stolen from your destiny. You become more protective of your energy because you realize that not everything deserves access to you. Purpose helps you separate what is urgent from what is important. It helps you recognize that many of the things you stress about today won't matter in a year, but the things you invest in today, your discipline, your growth, your vision, will shape every year for the rest of your life. Purpose also changes the way you see adversity. Pleasure makes you run from challenges, but purpose teaches you to run through them. When you are driven by purpose, challenges don't break you, they build you. Pressure doesn't scare you, it shapes you. Obstacles don't stop you, they strengthen you. When you live with purpose, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift alone can change the entire trajectory of your life. Purpose gives you identity, direction, and resilience. Pleasure gives you distraction, confusion, and regret. There is nothing wrong with enjoying moments of pleasure, but the problem is when pleasure becomes your lifestyle and purpose becomes optional. Pleasure is a moment. Purpose is a mission. Too many people lose their mission because they're addicted to moments. Living with purpose requires discipline, and discipline is the language of greatness. The more disciplined you are, the more control you have over your future. The less disciplined you are, the more you live at the mercy of your impulses. Discipline means doing the thing you need to do even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline means prioritizing long-term success over short-term satisfaction. Discipline means holding yourself accountable even when no one is watching. Discipline means having a standard for your life that your feelings cannot negotiate with. Purpose is not found in comfort. Purpose is found in commitment. It is found in the moments when you want to quit, but you keep going. It is found in the sacrifices you make that others don't understand. It is found in the late nights, the early mornings, the frustration, the failures, the lessons, and the relentless effort you invest into your future. Purpose is not an emotion. It is a decision. Every single day you wake up and choose it again and again. If you want to live a life filled with meaning, direction, and fulfillment, you must stop making decisions that only satisfy the moment and start making decisions that build the future. You must stop letting comfort steal your calling. You must stop letting easy choices lead you to hard consequences. Instead, make the hard choices that lead to the life you desire. Purpose over pleasure is not just a phrase, it is a lifestyle, a mindset, a commitment to yourself. It means you stop wasting time on things that do not grow you. It means you stop chasing validation from people who are not going where you're going. It means you stop spending your energy on meaningless habits that only leave you empty. It means you elevate your standard and refuse to settle for average. Your life changes the moment you choose purpose. The moment you decide that your future is more valuable than your excuses. The moment you refuse to let temporary feeling determine your destiny. When you choose purpose, life becomes bigger, richer, deeper, and more meaningful than you ever imagined. You begin to live in alignment with who you were created to be. You begin to feel a fire inside you that pleasure could never ignite. You begin to feel alive in a way that comfort could never offer. Purpose is not easy, but it is worth it. Pleasure is easy, but it is empty. And when your life is over, you will not remember the nights you wasted scrolling, the days you wasted avoiding work, or the hours you wasted chasing temporary comfort. You will remember what you built. You will remember who you became. You will remember the mission you fulfilled. You will remember the impact you made. So choose purpose. Choose discipline. Choose growth. Choose the life that challenges you, stretches you, shapes you, and ultimately transforms you. Because when you live by purpose, you don't just survive, you rise. You don't just exist, you matter. And you don't just breathe, you become everything you were created to be. Discipline creates freedom because it puts you back in control of your life. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you feel like, whenever you want, without rules, without structure, without limits. But that kind of a freedom is actually slavery to impulse, laziness, distraction, and emotion. Real freedom doesn't come from doing what you want in the moment. Real freedom comes from doing what you must for the future you want. Discipline is that bridge. Discipline is the tool that allows you to break free from the chains of inconsistency and become the kind of person who can rely on themselves. When you are disciplined, you are not ruled by your moves, your comfort, or your excuses. You are ruled by your mission. Discipline might feel restrictive at first because it forces you to stop doing what is easy. But what's easy is often the enemy of what's meaningful. Easy choices bring hard consequences. Hard choices bring meaningful rewards. A life guided by discipline becomes a life guided by intention. You start making decisions with clarity, not confusion. You stop guessing and start acting. You stop reacting and start leading. Discipline is the structure that supports every dream, every goal, every transformation you want to create. When you lack discipline, your life becomes chaotic. You wake up without direction. You start things but don't finish them. You talk big but deliver small. You allow distractions, people, emotions, and circumstances to steal your focus. And the worst part is that you know you're capable of more. But without discipline, your potential stays locked inside you. People don't fail because they are weak or unmotivated. They fail because they never learn to control their energy, their time, and their habits. Discipline is the force that shapes your raw potential to real progress. Without discipline, potential is wasted. With discipline, potential becomes power. One of the most misunderstood truths about success is that motivation is not enough. Motivation can inspire you, but discipline builds you. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Motivation is seasonal. Discipline is permanent. You don't need to feel good to be disciplined. You need to be committed. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who are motivated every day. They're the ones who show up even when they're tired, stressed, discouraged, or uninspired. That's real freedom. The freedom to act regardless of feeling. Discipline also gives you freedom from regret. People who lack discipline live with constant guilt. Guilt for not working, guilt for wasting time, guilt for procrastinating, guilt for knowing they could be doing more but aren't. Discipline frees you from that weight. When you are disciplined, you can sleep peacefully because you know you didn't waste your day. You didn't let yourself down. You didn't betray your own potential. Discipline gives you a quiet confidence, a trust in yourself that cannot be bought or faked. You can look in the mirror and say, I did what I said I would do. That's freedom. There's also freedom in routine. Most people run from routine because they think it limits creativity or enjoyment. But the opposite is true. Routine reduces stress because you no longer waste time deciding what to do. You just do it. Routine eliminates chaos, removes hesitation, and builds momentum. When your habits are aligned with your goals, your results become predictable, and predictable results create confidence. A disciplined routine builds a powerful rhythm in your life. And that rhythm becomes the momentum that carries you through challenges, setbacks, and seasons of doubt. Discipline creates freedom through consistency. Consistency compounds. Most people look for big breakthroughs, but breakthroughs are the product of small, consistent actions taken daily. A disciplined person understands that progress is not always dramatic. Progress is often quiet, subtle, and invisible at first. It's the hours you put in that no one sees. It's the sacrifices you make in private. It's the decisions you make when no one is clapping for you. Over time, these consistent actions build skills, strength, confidence, and discipline. And eventually, what once felt difficult becomes automatic. That's when discipline becomes a lifestyle, not a tab. Another way discipline creates freedom is by giving you control over your time. Time is the most valuable currency you have, and lack of discipline is the fastest way to waste it. Without discipline, you allow distractions to steal your hours. You lose days to procrastination. You sacrifice weeks to unfocused work and months to meaningless habits. But when you are disciplined, you take ownership of your time. You learn how to prioritize, how to focus, how to say no. You stop giving your energy to things that don't align with your purpose. And slowly, you begin to build a life where your time reflects what you value, not what distracts you. Discipline also gives you financial freedom. People who practice discipline with their money, saving consistently, spending wisely, investing intelligently, the ones who eventually break free from debt, stress, and poverty. Financial discipline is not about being cheap. It's about being in control. When you are disciplined with money, you are not controlled by impulse buying, unnecessary spending, or instant gratification. You learn to delay pleasure today so you can enjoy greater stability, opportunity, and peace tomorrow. Discipline in finances equals freedom from financial stress. There is freedom in your health when you are disciplined. A disciplined body leads to a disciplined mind. When you take care of your body through consistent exercise, proper rest, and healthy habits, you gain energy, mental clarity, and emotional stability. Discipline in health frees you from preventable illnesses, fatigue, lack of motivation, and low self-esteem. It gives you the strength to pursue your goals at a higher level. A disciplined lifestyle creates a powerful cycle. The more disciplined you become, the stronger you feel. The stronger you feel, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more disciplined you remain. Emotionally, discipline creates freedom from overwhelming feelings. People who lack emotional discipline react impulsively. They let anger, stress, frustration, or sadness dictate their action. But emotional discipline gives you the freedom to respond instead of react. It gives you the ability to stay calm in chaos, patient in struggle, and grounded in uncertainty. Emotional discipline is not about suppressing feelings. It's about mastering them. When you control your emotions, you control your decisions. When you control your decisions, you control your life. Mentally, discipline frees you from doubt. When you know you are consistent, your confidence grows. You start believing in yourself because you have evidence, daily proof, through your actions that you are capable, reliable, and committed. That kind of confidence cannot be shaken by someone's opinion or criticism. Discipline is the foundation of self-belief. Spiritually, discipline helps you stay aligned with your values. It keeps you anchored when life becomes chaotic. It gives you the strength to remain focused on what matters instead of being consumed by temporary distractions. A disciplined spirit is unshakable because it knows where it stands and why it stands there. There is also freedom in relationships when you practice discipline. You stop tolerating toxic behavior. You stop giving your time to people who drain you. You stop forcing connections that don't grow you. Discipline teaches you boundaries, what to accept, what to reject, and what to protect. Freedom in relationships comes from the ability to choose wisely instead of emotionally. Discipline is the gateway to mastering yourself. The mastering yourself is the highest form of freedom. When you are disciplined, you don't fear challenge because you are prepared. You don't fear opportunities because you're ready. You don't fear the future building it. You don't fear failure because discipline has taught you how to rise again and again. Discipline removes chaos and replaces it with certainty. It removes fear and replaces it with confidence. It removes confusion and replaces it with clarity. A disciplined life is predictable, not in a boring way, but in a powerful way. You can predict your future because you are creating it daily through intentional action. You no longer depend on luck or circumstances. You depend on yourself. And that is the ultimate freedom. Discipline creates freedom because it puts you in the driver's seat of your destiny. It allows you to take ownership of every part of your life, your habits, your goals, your relationships, your future. It gives you the ability to transform your weaknesses into strengths, your fears into fuel, and your dreams into reality. With discipline, you don't have to wait for the right moment. You create the right moment. You create the right moment. And the beautiful thing about discipline is that anyone can develop it. You don't need to be strong to start. You become strong by starting. Discipline grows through repetition. It gets stronger with practice. It becomes easier with consistency. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you build a new level of freedom within yourself. Every time you push through resistance, you create a new level of confidence. Every time you stay committed, you expand your potential. Discipline is not punishment. It is empowerment. It is the promise you make to your future self. It is the commitment to live a life that matters, a life that has meaning, a life that is built on intention, not impulse. Discipline is the pathway to becoming the best version of yourself, and the freedom you gain from it is something that pleasure, comfort, or laziness can never offer. So choose discipline. Choose the long term over the short term. Choose structure over chaos. Choose responsibility over excuses. Choose growth over comfort. And watch how every area of your life begins to transform. Because when you master discipline, you master your future. And when you master your future, you unlock a level of freedom that most people would never experience. Accountability transforms your life because it removes the hiding places you created for your excuses. Most people love the idea of success, but they avoid the responsibility that comes with it. They want the reward, but they don't want the pressure. They want the outcomes, but they don't want the ownership. Accountability forces you to look in the mirror and say, if my life is not where I want it to be, it's on me. That level of honesty is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. Because once you accept that your life is your responsibility, you also accept that your life is within your control. Accountability is the foundation that prevents your goals from becoming fantasies. It keeps you grounded, focused, and aligned with the version of yourself you claim you want to become. When you practice accountability, you stop blaming circumstances, people, timing, or luck for where you are. You understand that external excuses might explain your situation, but they cannot justify staying in it. Accountability is about saying, I might not have caused everything in my life, but I am responsible for how I respond. That shift changes everything. Instead of waiting for opportunities, you create them. Instead of hoping things will change, you change your actions. Instead of wishing for better days, you work for better days. Accountability empowers you because it brings your focus back to what you can control. Your attitude, your effort, your discipline, your decisions, and your consistency. People who avoid accountability often stay stuck because they keep giving their power away. When you blame someone else, you place your life in their hand. When you make excuses, you give your future to chance. When you refuse to take ownership, you settle for whatever life throws at you. But accountability breaks that cycle. It forces you to confront yourself, your patterns, and your choices. It reveals what you're doing wrong and shows you what you must do right. Accountability is not about guilt. It's about growth. It's not about punishment. It's about progress. It's not about perfection. It's about responsibility. Accountability also demands consistency. You cannot just decide once. You must decide daily. Accountability requires you to show up, even on the days you don't want to. It forces you to reevaluate your habits, your environment, and your mindset. It pushes you to raise your standards and stop lying to yourself about your efforts. You cannot hold yourself accountable and still entertain excuses. You cannot hold yourself accountable and still tolerate laziness. You cannot hold yourself accountable and still live in denial. The moment you choose accountability, your standards rise. You begin to expect more from yourself than anyone else ever will. One of the most powerful aspects of accountability is that it creates clarity. When you hold yourself accountable, you start measuring your actions instead of your intention. You stop judging yourself by what you plan to do and start judging yourself by what you actually did. Many people think they're working hard because they intend to work hard. They believe they're committed because they say they are. They convince themselves they're consistent because they try sometimes. Accountability removes that illusion. It shows you the truth, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It forces you to ask questions like, did I really give my best today? Did I follow through on the promises I made? Did I use my time wisely or did I waste it? Did I move closer to my goals or did I distract myself? Did I act with discipline or did I allow feelings to control me? These questions hold you to a higher standard, and that standard is what creates growth. Accountability also strengthens your mindset. When you take responsibility for your action, you become mentally tougher. You don't collapse under pressure because you're used to facing yourself. You don't crumble when you make mistakes because you understand mistakes are part of the process. You don't fall apart when life becomes difficult because you have trained yourself to respond with ownership instead of panic. Accountability builds resilience. It teaches you to stand firm, stay focused, and stay committed even when circumstances are uncertain. Another powerful truth about accountability is that it eliminates mediocrity. People who refuse to hold themselves accountable settle for good enough, or maybe one day, I'll start tomorrow, and I'm trying. But trying is not the same as doing. Someday is not a real day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. Accountability forces you to stop negotiating with your potential. It pushes you to demand more from yourself. Not because someone is watching you, but because you know you deserve better. Accountability replaces excuses with execution. When you embrace accountability, you start eliminating distractions from your life. You stop entertaining people who waste your time. You stop participating in conversations that drain your energy. You stop indulging in habits that sabotage your progress. Accountability forces you to protect your environment because you understand that your surrounding influence your mindset. A person who is serious about accountability cannot thrive in an environment filled with negativity, laziness, or inconsistency. You begin to surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you to level up. Accountability teaches you how to self-correct. When you slip, you don't hide it. You acknowledge it and adjust. When you fail, you don't deny it. You learn from it and improve. When you lose focus, you don't justify it. You refocus and recommit. Without accountability, you repeat the same mistakes for years. With accountability, you correct your mistakes and move forward stronger. You don't need perfect days to grow. You need honest days. Accountability gives you those honest days. One of the greatest forms of accountability is honesty with yourself. Many people are not stuck because of lack of opportunity. They are stuck because they are lying to themselves. They're lying about their effort. They're lying about their priorities. They're lying about their intentions. They're lying about their discipline. Accountability destroys those lies. It forces you to speak truth even when the truth is uncomfortable. And truth is what sets you free. Accountability also teaches you patience. When you take responsibility for your growth, you understand that change takes time. You won't fix bad habits in a day. You won't build greatness overnight. But with accountability, you stay consistent long enough to see results. You stop quitting early. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop expecting instant success. Accountability trains you to commit for the long term. It builds endurance, persistence, and long-lasting discipline. There is also emotional freedom in accountability. When you stop blaming others, you stop blaming others, stop carrying resentment. When you stop making excuses, you stop feeling ashamed. When you own your mistakes, you stop fearing them. Accountability gives you emotional maturity, the ability to control your reactions, assess your behavior, and choose better responses. When you hold yourself accountable emotionally, you don't allow anger, jealousy, fear, or insecurity to dictate your actions. You learn to manage your feelings instead of letting your feelings manage you. Accountability deepens your confidence. When you consistently follow through on your commitments, you begin to trust yourself. That inner trust is powerful. You stop doubting your abilities. You stop questioning your worth. You stop seeking validation from others. You know who you are because your actions align with your words. You develop a quiet confidence, not loud, not boastful, but strong. A confidence built on discipline, integrity, and self-respect. People often think accountability means doing everything alone, but accountability also teaches you when to ask for help. It helps you recognize your weaknesses without being ashamed of them. It helps you identify areas where you need support, mentorship, or guidance. Strong people are not the ones who do everything by themselves. They are the ones who acknowledge what they can and cannot handle, and then take the necessary steps to improve. Accountability is not about isolation. It is about responsibility. Accountability also transforms your relationships. When you hold yourself accountable, you become someone others can rely on. You stop breaking promises. You stop disappointing people, and you stop overcommitting. People begin to trust you because your actions match your words. Accountability helps you communicate better, respect boundaries, and maintain healthier connections. You become more intentional about how you treat people because you are more intentional about how you treat yourself. Ultimately, accountability gives you power, not power over others, but power over your own life, power over your choices, power over your habits, power over your mindset, power over your future. Accountability means you are no longer living reactively, you are living proactively. You are not being pushed by life. You are leading your life. You are not waiting for change. You are becoming the change. The truth is simple. Without accountability, success is accidental, temporary, and inconsistent. With accountability, success becomes intentional, sustainable, and repeatable. Accountability is the difference between wishing for a better life and building one. It is the difference between excuses and excellence. It is the difference between living passively and living purposefully. So hold yourself accountable every day. Be honest about your flaws, your habits, your choices, and your discipline. Take ownership of your actions. Evaluate your progress. Correct your mistakes. Protect your time. Raise your standards and refuse to settle for less than you are capable of. Because when accountability becomes a lifestyle, greatness becomes inevitable. Growth requires discomfort because nothing powerful, meaningful, or transformative is ever created inside the comfort zone. Comfort feels safe, predictable, and easy, but it also keeps you stagnant. It convinces you that staying the same is good enough. It whispers to you that avoiding risk is protecting you. It tricks you into believing that familiarity is better than progress. But every person who has ever changed their life, built something extraordinary, or unlocked their potential had to walk through discomfort to get there. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. Your fears, your habits, your weaknesses, your excuses, and your limits. But the very discomfort you run from is the same discomfort that holds your breakthrough. Most people avoid discomfort because it feels like pain. But in reality, discomfort is the birthplace of strength. You cannot grow muscles without resistance. You cannot grow mentally without challenging. You cannot grow emotionally without facing difficult situations. You cannot grow spiritually without being tested. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is happening. It is a sign that you are stretching, evolving, and stepping into areas you once thought were beyond your ability. And the moment you accept discomfort as part of your journey, you begin to unlock a version of yourself you have never experienced before. Growth demands that you leave behind the identity that was created by comfort. Comfort creates habits that keep you safe but small. It creates excuses that justify your lack of progress. It creates cycles where you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, I'm not ready, or it's too hard. But growth requires you to challenge those patterns. It asks you to step into uncertainty, to embrace risk, to push yourself into areas that feel foreign, and to do the things that make you nervous. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to break through the limitations you once believed were permanent. When you embrace discomfort, you begin to discover your true capacity. You learn that you can handle more than you thought. You learn that fear loses power when you walk toward it. You learn that obstacles are not roadblocks, they are opportunity. You learn that the challenge in front of you is building something inside of you. Discomfort reveals strength you didn't know you had. It teaches resilience, patience, courage, and endurance. It builds character, discipline, and confidence. Without discomfort, you cannot grow anything worth having. The comfort zone is dangerous because it feels harmless. You don't notice how it slowly steals your potential, You don't recognize how it keeps you repeating the same cycles year after year. You don't see how it blinds you from your own strengths. Comfort is quiet, subtle, and seductive. It tells you that staying the same is easier than changing. But easier is not the same as better. Easier is not the same as fulfilling. Easier is not the same as purposeful. Growth doesn't come from easy decisions. It comes from courageous ones. Every time you choose discomfort over comfort, you gain a new level of freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from doubt, freedom from hesitation, freedom from limitations. Discomfort forces you to expand your mind, strengthen your spirit, and sharpen your skills. It pushes you to become someone who doesn't run from challenges, but runs toward them. It turns you into someone who embraces the process, not just the outcome. Growth is uncomfortable because transformation requires pressure. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Champions are built through adversity. Leaders are shaped through struggle. Legends are made through discomfort. Discomfort also teaches you humility. When you step into new spaces, you quickly realize how much you don't know. That humility becomes fuel. It pushes you to learn, to improve, to develop. It reminds you that growth is a lifelong journey. When things are easy, you get complacent. When things are difficult, you get better. Discomfort forces you to seek knowledge, mentorship, discipline, and guidance. It pushes you to show up with the mindset of a student, not someone who already knows everything. Another reason growth is uncomfortable is because it requires sacrifice. You must sacrifice old habits, old environments, old mindsets, and sometimes even old relationships. Growth will demand that you release the things that no longer serve you. And letting go is rarely comfortable, but it is necessary. You cannot step into your future while clinging to your past. Discomfort comes from letting go of what is familiar so you can create space for what is powerful. Growth requires pruning, removing the parts of your life that block your progress. And pruning always feels uncomfortable before it feels necessary. Growth is uncomfortable because it exposes your excuses. It confronts your laziness, your procrastination, your inconsistency, your distractions, and your fears. It forces you to admit when you're not giving your best. It demands honesty. It demands accountability. And honesty is uncomfortable because it shines a light on the areas you try to hide. But exposure is the first step to transformation. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. You cannot grow from what you deny. Discomfort brings awareness, and awareness brings change. Discomfort also challenges your patience. Growth is rarely fair. It is slow, gradual, and sometimes frustrating. It requires you to push yourself even when the results are not visible yet. It teaches you to stay consistent even when progress feels invisible. It trains your mind to trust the process instead of quitting early. Comfort wants fast results. Growth wants lasting results. And lasting results come from pushing through seasons of discomfort where you want to stop but don't. Your patience strengthens not when things are easy, but when things are difficult. Another powerful truth is that discomfort builds confidence. People think confidence comes from success, but real confidence comes from doing hard things. It comes from proving to yourself that you can endure discomfort, push through challenges, and overcome obstacles. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you build evidence. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you are stronger than you thought. Evidence that you can evolve. Evidence that you can rise. That evidence becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. Comfort gives you temporary pleasure. Discomfort gives you permanent strength. Discomfort also rewires your mindset. When you embrace it consistently, you stop seeing challenges as threats and start seeing them as opportunities. You stop avoiding difficult situations and start confronting them. You stop fearing failure and start learning from it. You stop worrying about how hard something is and start thinking about who you become by doing it. Discomfort shifts your thinking from survival to growth, from fear to courage, from limitation to possibility. Something else discomfort teaches is discipline. When you consistently choose discomfort, waking up early, working hard, staying focused, sacrificing distractions, you build discipline. That discipline becomes the glue that holds your goals together. Comfort encourages inconsistency. Discomfort creates momentum. The more you practice discomfort, the more disciplined you become. And the more disciplined you become, the more unstoppable you are. Growth is uncomfortable because it challenges the old version of you. The old version of you can't go where your future self is trying to go. That old version was built for survival, not success. It was built for comfort, not greatness. Growth forces you to shed that identity. It asks you to upgrade your mindset, your habits, your environment, your discipline, and your standards. That process is uncomfortable, not because you're incapable, but because you're evolving. You're stepping into a stronger, wiser, more powerful version of yourself. Discomfort also creates gratitude. When you struggle for something, you value it more. When you work for something, you appreciate it deeper. Comfort cheapens your blessings. Discomfort magnifies them. Growth teaches you to appreciate progress. No matter how small, it teaches you to be grateful for challenges because they shaped you. It teaches you to celebrate resilience because you earned it. Gratitude grows in the soil of discomfort. Another profound truth is that discomfort builds emotional strength. When you face difficult situations, rejection, failure, heartbreak, disappointment, you develop emotional resilience. You learn how to remain steady under pressure. You learn how to stay focused under stress. You learn how to stay grounded when life becomes heavy. Emotional strength is not built in easy seasons. It is built in uncomfortable seasons. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to strengthen your emotional foundation, and that strength becomes a shield for the rest of your life. Ultimately, growth requires discomfort because comfort cannot give you the life you dream of. Comfort only gives you what you already have. Discomfort gives you what you've never experienced. Discomfort opens doors, reveals potential, develops character, and builds greatness. Every breakthrough you're searching for is hiding behind a moment of discomfort you've been avoiding. Your next level requires you to step into experiences that feel unfamiliar, challenging, or uncomfortable. That is the path of transformation. So embrace discomfort. Lean into the stretch. Walk into the unknown. Challenge yourself. Push yourself. Stop running from the thing that will make you stronger. Growth may be uncomfortable, but staying the same is painful. The question is not whether discomfort will come. The question is whether you will step into it or hide from it. And if you choose to embrace it, you will step into a life of confidence, strength, and power, because the only way to rise is to outgrow the version of yourself that was too comfortable to change. When you truly begin to understand the consequences of your choices, everything about the way you live starts to shift. Most people walk through life acting as if their decisions exist in isolation, as if what they do today won't follow them into tomorrow. But every choice you make is a seed. Some seeds grow into blessings, and others grow into battles. Your life right now is the harvest of the decisions you made months, years, even decades ago. And the life you will live in the future is being shaped by the choices you are making right now. Nothing in your life is random. It is all connected to the decisions you continue to make. That is why understanding consequences is one of the most powerful tools you could ever master. It teaches you responsibility, discipline, and long-term vision. People waste time because they don't feel the weight of consequences. They waste potential because they believe they'll always have another chance. They waste opportunities because they assume life will patiently wait. But life doesn't pause for anyone. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. And before you know it, the consequences you ignored have turned into reality you're forced to live with. When you start taking your choices seriously, when you begin connecting today's actions to tomorrow's results, you stop living carelessly. You stop making emotional decisions. You stop moving without direction. You understand that everything you do either serves your future or sabotages it. Every time you procrastinate, there is a consequence. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, there's a consequence. Every time you let fear make decisions for you, there's a consequence. Every time you tell yourself, I'll start later, I'll try next week, I'll get serious tomorrow, your future pays the price. Consequences don't show up overnight. They build quietly. They grow slowly. They are patient. They wait. And then one day you wake up feeling overwhelmed, disappointed, unprepared, or stuck. Not because life suddenly turned against you, but because your choices have finally matured into reality. Most people don't connect their present struggles to their past decisions. They blame their circumstance, they blame the people around them, they blame time, and they blame everything except the truth. The consequences of their choices are catching up. If you didn't discipline yourself yesterday, today will feel heavier. If you didn't plan yesterday, today will feel chaotic. If you didn't manage your time, your health, your focus, your habits, then today becomes a struggle. Consequences don't care about excuses. They don't respond to "I was tired, I was stressed, I didn't feel like it." They respond only to action or inaction. But understanding consequences isn't just about avoiding negative outcomes. It's also the foundation of building a powerful, meaningful, successful life. When you understand consequences, you begin making decisions with purpose. You begin asking yourself before every action, what is this leading me toward? What future is this creating? How will this decision affect the version of myself I am becoming? And those questions alone can save you years of regret. When you understand consequences, you stop treating your life casually. You stop wasting days like they are unlimited. You stop giving your energy to things that drain you. You stop prioritizing people who don't value you. You stop letting bad habits operate unchecked. Instead, you start thinking like the person you want to become. You start acting like your future matters. You start aligning your behavior with your goals. You transform from a person controlled by impulses into a person guided by intention. Consequences are why discipline matters so much. Discipline protects you from the long-term damage of careless decisions. Discipline ensures that even when you don't feel motivated, you don't sabotage your future self. Discipline makes sure you pay the price now, so you don't have to pay a much heavier price later. Because the truth is, you will pay a price either way. Hard now or harder later. Work now or regret later. Growth now or stagnation later. Discipline is not punishment protection. It guards your future from the consequences of inconsistency. Think about your habits. Every habit you repeat is strengthening a version of you. Either the disciplined version, the lazy version, the focused version, or the distracted version. Your habits are not small actions. They are the architects of your destiny. They determine what your health will look like, what your finances will look like, what your relationships will look like, what your opportunities will look like. Good habits create powerful consequences. Bad habits create destructive ones. You don't get to choose the consequences. You only get to choose the habits that lead to them. Another powerful part of understanding consequences is realizing that every moment you waste comes with a cost. Time is the most expensive currency you own because once you spend it, you can never earn it back. Money lost can be regained. Opportunities missed can sometimes return, but time gone is gone forever. And yet people waste time like it is unlimited, as if they have all the time in the world to accomplish their dreams, repair their relationships, build their careers, or transform their lives. They don't realize that the consequence of wasting time is waking up one day, wishing you had done things differently. And regret is one of the heaviest consequences a human being can experience. When you become aware of consequences, you develop a different type of clarity. You begin to see the truth that most people avoid. Your life is a reflection of your choices. If you want a better life, you must make better choices. If you want stronger results, you must adopt stronger habits. If you want to avoid regret, you must embrace responsibility. If you want success, you must choose discipline. Nothing changes until you change the way you decide. But consequences do not only come in the form of failures or missed opportunities. Positive consequences are just as powerful. When you choose to work hard today, the consequence is opportunity tomorrow. When you choose to take care of your body, the consequence is energy, confidence, and health. When you choose to study, learn, and grow, the consequence is wisdom. When you choose honesty, the consequence is trust. When you choose persistence, the consequence is progress. When you choose courage, the consequence is transformation. Your future rewards are directly connected to your present decisions. Most people want success, but fear the sacrifices attached to it. What they don't realize is that avoiding sacrifice is also a sacrifice. You either sacrifice your comfort now, or you sacrifice your potential later. You either sacrifice your distractions now, or you sacrifice your progress later. You either sacrifice your excuses now, or you sacrifice your dreams later. Life will always demand a price. The question is which price you want to pay. Understanding consequences also teaches you to stop celebrating intentions and start valuing execution. Too many people live in the fantasy of what they're planning to do or what they'll start someday, what they're thinking about changing. Intentions don't create outcomes. Only actions do. And the consequence of living in intention is that your life becomes full of unfinished dreams, unrealized potential, and wasted time. Execution is what transforms ideas into reality. Execution is what turns effort into results. Execution is what separates achievers from dreamers. Another overlooked consequence is what happens inside you every time you break a promise to yourself. Every time you say you'll wake up early, but you hit snooze, a consequence is created. You weaken your trust in yourself. Every time you say you'll stop a bad habit, but you continue, a consequence is created. You lower your self-respect. Every time you set a goal but don't follow through, a consequence is created. You reinforce the belief that you can't depend on yourself. The most damaging consequences aren't external. They're internal. They shape your identity. They shape your confidence. They shape the way you see your own potential. But the beautiful part is that positive consequences work the same way. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build confidence. Every time you choose discipline, you build strength. Every time you take action, you build momentum. Every time you overcome resistance, you build belief. And the stronger your belief in yourself becomes, the more unstoppable your life becomes. Understanding consequences ultimately about ownership is about taking full responsibility for your life. It's about refusing to blame, refusing to make excuses, refusing to live on autopilot. It's about choosing intentionally, acting purposefully, and living with awareness. When you live with that level of ownership, your life becomes more meaningful, more powerful, and more aligned with who you are meant to be. You don't need love. You need responsibility. You don't need motivation. You need consistency. You don't need more time. You need better choices. Your life is not the result of fate. It is the result of decisions. And the moment you fully embrace that truth, you gain the power to change everything. The consequences of your choices are already shaping your future. The question is, will they build you or break you? The answer depends entirely on the decisions you make from this moment forward. When you start valuing your time, everything about your life begins to shift. Most people don't realize how much of their life they lose simply because they treat time like it's unlimited. They wake up each day and move through the hours as if they will always get another chance, another day, another opportunity to do what they keep postponing. But time is not patient. Time is not loyal. Time is not guaranteed. Time is the most precious and unforgiving resource you would ever have. Once it's gone, it never returns. Once it's wasted, you cannot negotiate to get it back. When you truly understand the weight of that reality, you stop living casually and start living consciously. People waste hours on distractions, drama, and meaningless routines. They give their attention to things and people that do not add value. And then they wonder why they feel empty at the end of the day. It's not because they didn't work hard enough. It's because they spent their energy in the wrong places. You can be busy all day and still accomplish nothing if your time is being spent on things that don't build your future. You can be exhausted every night and still be far from your goals if your time is being drained by habits that pull you backward. When you begin valuing your time, you start asking a powerful question. Is this worth part of my life? Because every minute you give away is a minute you never get back. Your time is your life. And the clearer you understand that, the more carefully you begin to protect it. You start guarding your mornings because you realize how much stronger your day becomes when you start with intention. You stop staying up all night doing things that don't matter because you understand that the cost of those extra hours is your energy, your health, and your productivity the next day. You stop entertaining gossip, negativity, or unproductive conversations because you understand those minutes could be spent on growth, progress, and learning. When you value your time, you stop living according to other people's expectations and start living according to your own goals. Time has a way of exposing what matters to you. If you say your dreams matter, but you never give them time, they don't really matter. If you say your health matters, but you never invest time in exercise or nutrition, it doesn't matter. If you say your family matters, but you never make time to be present with them, they don't matter as much as you claim. Whatever you consistently give time to is what you're committed to. Your priorities are revealed not by your words, but by your schedule. And when you recognize that truth, you begin making different choices. One of the biggest reasons people waste time is because they live without structure. They let their day control them instead of controlling their day. They wake up and react to everything. Notifications, emotions, circumstances, messages, without any sense of direction. When you don't plan your day plans you. When you don't take ownership of your time, someone else will take it from you. But when you value your time, you become intentional. You build routines that support your goals. You set boundaries that protect your peace. You create order so that chaos no longer dictates your life. And valuing your time is not just about productivity, it's about identity. Every time you choose to use your time wisely, you reinforce the belief that you are disciplined, focused, and capable. Every time you waste time, you reinforce the belief that you are inconsistent, unfocused, and easily distracted. Your relationship with time shapes your relationship with yourself. When you respect your time, you begin to respect your potential. You begin to trust yourself more because you are proving through action that you can manage your life with intention. When you value your time, you stop chasing temporary pleasure because you understand that the consequences are long-term. That one extra hour of sleep, that one more episode, that one more scroll through social media, they seem harmless, but over time they build a pattern. And patterns become habits. And habits become lifestyle. A wasted minute becomes a wasted hour. A wasted hour becomes a wasted day. A wasted day becomes a wasted year. And before you know it, you look back and realize that the future you wanted slipped through your fingers because you didn't value the time needed to build it. People often say they don't have time, but the truth is they don't use the time they have wisely. They underestimate the power of small, consistent investments. 10 minutes of reading a day becomes growth. 15 minutes of exercise a day becomes strength. 20 minutes of planning a day becomes clarity. 30 minutes of focused work a day becomes progress. You don't need more hours, you need more intention. You don't need more time, you need fewer distractions. You don't need a bigger schedule, you need a stronger commitment. Another reason people waste time is because they don't understand urgency. They think they always have tomorrow. They think they will always have another season to start. They think life will wait for them to get serious. But life doesn't wait. Opportunities fade. Motivation fades. People change. Circumstances shift. You are not always going to feel the same. You are not always going to have the same energy. You are not always going to have the same chances. That's why urgency is so powerful. Not panic, but urgency. The understanding that your time is limited and everything you don't do now becomes harder to do later. When you value your time, you stop delaying your life. You also stop letting people misuse your time. You stop giving your energy to people who only take. You stop spending hours with people who complain instead of grow. You stop letting people distract you from your goals. You stop saying yes to things that don't align with your priorities. You learn to say no, not because you are selfish, but because you finally understand that your time is your life and you can't give your life away to everything and everyone. You realize that your circle affects your schedule and your schedule affects your destiny. Valuing your time also means valuing your focus. Time without focus is wasted time. You can give something an hour of your time, but only 5 minutes of your attention. And the result will reflect that. In a world full of distractions, focus is a superpower. The more you strengthen your ability to focus, the more you multiply the power of your time. You begin to accomplish in 1 hour what used to take you 5. You begin to move forward faster because your mind is not scattered. You begin to feel more confident because your results are consistent. Focus time is transformative time. When you value your time, you realize that the way you spend your hours determines the quality of your time learning. You grow. If you spend your time lazily, you decline. If you spend your time building something meaningful, you progress. If you spend your time escaping through distractions, you remain stuck. Time is a mirror. It reflects what you choose. You can't cheat it. You can't manipulate it. You can only respect it or waste it. And the truth is, the people who achieve the most in life are not the people with the most talent. They are the people who value their time the most. They use their mornings wisely. They focus on what matters. They eliminate distractions. They schedule their days intentionally. They align their actions with their goals. They don't allow laziness or fear to steal their hours. They treat time like something sacred, because it is. When you start valuing your time, your life becomes sharp. Your decisions become better. Your goals become clearer. Your habits become stronger. Your growth becomes consistent. You stop merely existing and start living with purpose. You stop drifting and start directing. You stop surviving and start building. Time is the foundation of your future. If you respect it, it will reward you. If you waste it, it will humble you. The life you want is built in the minutes, hours, and days you often overlook. The future you dream of depends on how you use the time you have right now. So protect it, guard it, prioritize it, honor it, because once you understand the value of your time, you will never allow anyone, not even yourself, to waste it again. When you learn to stand firm in your decision, you step into a power that most people never experience. Too many people waste their lives because they keep moving back and forth. One day they are committed. The next day they are confused. One day they are motivated. The next day they are discouraged. One day they are running toward their goal. The next day they are walking away from it. And the truth is, inconsistency doesn't just slow you down, it destroys your potential. When you don't stand firm in your decisions, you leave the door open for doubt, fear, excuses, and distractions to walk in. And once those things enter your mind, they begin pulling you away from your purpose piece by piece. Standing firm is not about stubbornness, it's about clarity. When you know who you are and what you want, it becomes easier to commit to the path in front of you. But when your identity is shaky and your vision is unclear, every challenge feels like a sign to quit, and every setback feels like proof that you're not capable. Standing firm means deciding what matters to you and refusing to negotiate with your fears. It means planting your feet in the ground of your purpose and refusing to be pushed around by temporary feeling. One of the biggest reasons people fail to stand firm is because they want reassurance more than results. They want everyone to understand their path. They want everyone to approve their dreams. They want circumstances to be perfect before they commit. But purpose doesn't wait for confirmation. Destiny doesn't come with a guarantee. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be risk. And there will always be moments when you are the only one who believes in what you're doing. Standing firm means having the courage to move forward, even when no one claps, no one agrees, and no one understands. Every major breakthrough you want in life requires a decision, a firm decision. And when you make that decision, the universe starts organizing itself around your commitment. But if you keep changing your mind, the process can't unfold. Consistency is what builds momentum. Momentum is what creates progress. Progress is what creates transformation. If you interrupt the process by quitting, pausing, or hesitating, you keep restarting from zero. Standing firm eliminates that cycle. Standing firm means you don't start over, you build forward. Standing firm also strengthens your character. Every time you refuse to back down from your decision, you build discipline. Every time you push through discomfort, you build resilience. Every time you honor your commitment instead of your emotions, you build self-respect. These qualities don't come from easy days. They come from difficult decisions. They come from those moments when your feelings scream and stop, but your purpose whispers to keep going. Life will test your commitment. That is not a possibility. It's a guarantee. Challenge will come. Delays will come. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. You will have days when everything feels heavy and nothing feels possible. Standing firm isn't about avoiding these moments. It's about surviving them. It's about understanding that setbacks are not signals to quit. They are signals to grow. They are not signs that you made the wrong decision. They are signs that you are being shaped into someone stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the level you are trying to reach. Most people quit not because the goal was impossible, but because the discomfort felt unbearable. They quit because they expected progress to feel good. They expected the path to be smooth. They expected the reward without the pressure. But the truth is, growth always comes with growing pains. Transformation always comes with tension. Progress always comes with pressure. Standing firm means embracing discomfort as a part of the journey, not as a reason to abandon it. When you learn to stand firm, you also begin to separate your feelings from your mission. Your feelings will lie to you. They will convince you to take breaks you don't need. They will convince you to avoid work you must do. They will convince you that you're tired when you're only unmotivated, that you're confused when you're only afraid, that you're overwhelmed when you're only undisciplined. Standing firm means refusing to let your feelings dictate your future. It means telling yourself, I don't need to feel like it, I just need to do it. Standing firm gives you an internal strength that is unshakable. People can doubt you, but it won't move you. Circumstances can shift, but it won't stop you. Fear can whisper, but it won't control you. When you stand firm, you stop relying on external motivation and start operating from internal conviction. You don't need hype. You don't need applause. You don't need perfect timing. You only need the decision you made and the discipline to follow through. You cannot expect extraordinary results with a shaky commitment. You cannot expect your dreams to work for you if you won't work for them consistently. Standing firm means you set a standard for your life that you refuse to lower. It means you choose discipline over doubt. It means you choose resilience over excuses. It means you choose purpose over pressure. Standing firm also teaches you patience. Everyone wants quick results, but lasting success rarely comes quickly. The things that matter take time. The things that last require dedication. Standing firm helps you understand that progress may be slow, but slow progress is still progress. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You stop rushing your journey. You stop judging your growth. Instead, you trust the process because you trust your commitment. Standing firm builds confidence, not the kind of confidence that comes from achievement, but the kind that comes from integrity. When you honor your decision, you begin to see yourself as someone who can rely on their own word. That self-trust becomes one of your greatest strengths. Most people feel insecure because they break promises to themselves daily. They say they'll start tomorrow and don't. They say they'll stay consistent and don't. They say they'll change and don't. But when you stand firm, you become someone who means what they say. That identity alone can change your entire life. Another powerful part of standing firm is learning to embrace solitude. Not everyone will walk with you. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. And if you depend on others to validate your decision, you'll never build the life you want. Standing firm means being willing to walk alone when necessary. It means being okay with being misunderstood. It means being strong enough to move forward without waiting for permission. Standing firm also helps you filter your circle. When people see you committed, disciplined, and focused, two things happen. The wrong people disappear, and the right people appear. Those who aren't serious about life won't feel comfortable around your commitment. Those who aren't focused won't align with your vision. But those who value growth, discipline, purpose, and ambition will naturally gravitate toward you. Your firmness attracts people who are also firm, and perhaps the most important part of standing firm is this: your future depends on it. Every dream you have, every goal you imagine, every version of yourself you hope to become, none of it can happen unless you commit and stay committed. Not halfway, not when you feel good, not when it's convenient. You must stand firm in your decision, even when the journey is hard, even when you are tired, even when the results are slow. That is how transformation happens. Standing firm doesn't mean you won't feel discouraged. It means you won't surrender. It doesn't mean you won't feel doubt. It means you won't let doubt stop you. It doesn't mean you won't face setbacks. It means you won't let setbacks define you. Your decisions shape your destiny, but only if you stand firm in them. Your consistency determines your success, but only if you refuse to break. Your commitment builds your future, but only if you honor it daily. Stand firm, stand unshaken, stand rooted in your purpose. Because a life without firm decisions is a life without direction. And a life without direction is a life wasted. But when you stand firm, you move with intention, you grow with resilience, and you rise with power. That is how you build a life you can be proud of. One decision standing firm, again and again. You cannot afford to waste your life because life will not wait for you. Time doesn't stop. Energy doesn't rewind. And opportunities don't keep knocking forever. Every second you let slip away is a second you can never buy back, borrow back, or beg back. And the truth is, you already know this deep inside, but you get so caught up in distractions, noise, excuses, and comfort that you forget how precious your breath really is. You forget that someone with the same 24 hours is out there building, grinding, pushing, transforming, changing their family tree while you're convincing yourself that you'll start tomorrow. You forget that someone somewhere will give anything, absolutely anything, for one more day of life, while you treat your days like they're infinite. You forget because wasting time feels easy and valuing time feels hard. But every great life, every powerful legacy, every major breakthrough belongs to the person who learned how to value time like gold, like oxygen, like life itself. When you stop wasting your life, you start by realizing that life doesn't give you excess. You don't get spare years, extra weeks, or bonus time. What you get is what you get. And the crazy thing is most people behave like they have a lifetime later to get serious, a lifetime later to fight for their dream, a lifetime later to become who they want to become. They live like they've been guaranteed 60, 70, 80 years. They live like their expiration date is negotiable. But life doesn't negotiate. It doesn't bargain. It doesn't give warnings. And that's why you can't wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mindset, the perfect chance, or the perfect motivation to start living for real. You have to wake up and understand that your life is happening now, not next year, not when everything is comfortable, not when you feel ready. Every minute you delay is costing you more than you think. It's costing you momentum. It's costing you confidence. It's costing you habits that you could be building, networks you could be forming, skills you could be developing, dreams you could be chasing. It's costing you a version of yourself that would have been stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more focused. And when you waste too many years, you eventually run into a wall where you realize you're living far below your potential. You realize there are dreams inside you that never got a chance to breathe. And nothing hurts more than knowing you were capable more but didn't act. Nothing cuts deeper than the regret of wasted potential. The world will try to distract you every step of the way. It will throw entertainment, gossip, drama, comparison, comfort, and unhealthy habits in your path. It will try to condition you to live for the moment instead of for your purpose. It will try to convince you that life is about pleasure, not purpose, about comfort, not calling, about scrolling, not striving. And unless you fight, unless you stay awake, unless you stay committed to who you want to become, the world will steal years from you without you even realizing it. People waste their life because they fall asleep while alive. They move through the world like ghosts, breathing but not living, existing but not growing, awake but not aware. And if you're not careful, you start slipping into that same pattern, drifting through days like they don't matter, going through life in autopilot mode. To stop wasting your life, you have to take ownership, real, raw, uncomfortable ownership. You have to look at where you are and be honest about how you got here, not blaming people, not blaming circumstances, not blaming luck or family or environment. You have to accept that every choice, every habit, every decision played a part. Ownership isn't punishment, it's empowerment, it's empowerment. Because the moment you accept that you create your situation is the same moment you accept that you can recreate it. You can rebuild your life from the ground up. You can rewrite your story. You can redirect your energy. You can restart your journey. But none of that happens if you spend your life pointing finger, making excuses, or telling yourself you'll fix things later. Ownership is the doorway to transformation, and transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens by intention. Your life becomes meaningful when you decide it will. Your life becomes powerful when you act like it matters. Your life becomes purposeful when you refuse to live passively. That means getting clear about what you want, who you want to become, and what you want to leave behind in this world. Too many people don't know what they want. And because they don't know what they want, they let anything and everything steal their time. You cannot afford to be vague. You cannot afford to wander. The moment you define your purpose, distractions lose their power. The moment you set a real vision for your life, laziness becomes uncomfortable. The moment you commit to a direction, your energy shifts, your habits shift, your mindset shifts. Purpose is what transforms time from something you waste into something you invest. But having purpose isn't enough. You need discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation disappears. And motivation always disappears. That's normal. That's human. But discipline is what keeps the engine running, even when you're tired, stressed, distracted, frustrated, or unmotivated. People waste their lives because they rely on feelings. They wait to feel inspired, feel strong, feel ready, feel confident. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, cares what you do. And if you want a life you can be proud of, you have to act even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Discipline is honoring your future instead of indulging your present. Discipline is respecting your own potential enough to make sacrifices for it. Every day becomes precious when you understand that your greatness is built slowly. Not in big moments, not in random bursts, but in daily consistency, brick by brick, choice by choice, action by action. You cannot build anything meaningful if you keep stopping and starting, stopping and starting. You need to show up even on the days you don't see results. Because most people quit right before the breakthrough. Most people waste their life because they get impatient. They expect instant results, instant success, instant transformation. And when they don't get it, they fall back into distraction. But real growth takes time. Real success takes sacrifice. Real transformation takes patience. And the ones who don't waste their life are the ones who stay committed long enough to see the harvest. Your circle matters too. If you spend your life around people who don't care about growth, who don't care about purpose, who don't care about success, you will slowly become just like them. Wasting your life often happens because you're surrounded by people who waste theirs. You need people who challenge you, push you, inspire you, and hold you accountable. You need people who remind you of your greatness when you forget. You need people who make you uncomfortable when you start slipping into old habits. The wrong circle will keep you stuck. The right circle will elevate you. Sometimes the reason your life isn't moving forward is because you're tied to people who aren't moving at all. If you want to stop wasting your life, you also have to stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for validation, approval, or recognition. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready, because nobody is coming to save you, to crown you, to authorize your greatness. You have to authorize yourself. You have to validate yourself. You have to choose yourself. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. And some of you have more talent than the people you admire, but they're outworking you, outdisciplining you, and outbelieving you. Talent means nothing if you waste your life by not using it. You cannot afford to waste your life because you have people depending on you. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your future children. Maybe it's your community. Maybe it's someone out there that you haven't even met yet who needs your story, your strength, your resilience. Your life is not just about you. When you rise, others rise. When you become better, the world around you becomes better. Your impact has a ripple effect, and wasting your life means denying the world the gift you were born with. And above all, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the younger version of you, the one who had dreams, innocent, passion, imagination. The one who believed anything was possible before life tried to convince you otherwise. Don't betray that version of you by settling for a life beneath your potential. Don't betray your future by wasting your present. Don't betray your purpose by living small. You get one life, one, and what you do with it determines everything. Your peace, your legacy, your identity, your fulfillment, your impact. So decide today. Decide right now. No more wasted days. No more wasted energy. No more wasted potential. Live your life with intention, with urgency, with purpose, with discipline. Live in a way that when your time is up, whenever that day comes, you won't have to look back with regret. You won't have to wonder what you could have been. You'll know you poured everything out, used everything you had, and lived fully, boldly, fearlessly. That is how you honor your life. That is how you protect your destiny. That is how you ensure that not a single moment, not a single breath goes to waste. At the end of the day, when everything is stripped away, your excuses, your distractions, your doubts, your fears, what you have left is your life, your one and only life. And the question you must ask yourself, the question that should keep you awake at night and get you out of bed in the morning is this: what are you going to do with it? Because no one can answer that for you. No one can live your purpose for you. No one can take your steps, fight your battles, or grow your dreams. And deep down, you know that. You know that the path you walk, the decisions you make, the energy you bring every day, all that belongs to you. And that's why wasting your life is so painful. Not because people judge you, not because you fall behind, but because inside, something within you knows you were meant for more. Something within you knows you're capable of more. Something within you knows your future is bigger than your habits, your fears, or your comfort zone. There comes a moment in every person's life where they must decide to stop running from their own greatness. A moment where you stop hiding behind the someday, where you stop pretending you're confused, where you stop acting like you need more signs before you move. You know what you want. You want. You know the type of life you want to live. You know the type of person you want to become. The real question is whether you're willing to become disciplined enough, focused enough, hungry enough to actually build it. Because building a life you're proud of requires courage. More courage than wasting your life ever will. Anyone can drift. Anyone can delay. Anyone can hide. But it takes a rare kind of person to confront their truth and transform. And if you're listening to this right now, then you're not average. You're not meant to simply exist. You're not meant to just go through the motions until your time is up. You're meant to create, to inspire, to impact, to grow. You're meant to leave fingerprints on this world that generations after you will see and feel. Your life has meaning, even on the days you don't feel it. Your story has value, even if no one has recognized it yet. Your presence matters, even when the world seems loud and overwhelming. And the sooner you embrace that truth, the sooner everything will begin to change. You don't need to wait for the right season. You don't need to wait for the perfect feeling. You don't need to wait until you have it all together. You start with what you have. You start with who you are. You start with the little strength you still have left. And when you start, life starts meeting you halfway. Doors begin to open. People begin to appear. Opportunities begin to multiply. Because life responds to movement. Life responds to intention. Life responds to the person who shows up for themselves. But you must understand something important. Changing your life is not about making one big decision. It's about making small ones every single day. It's about choosing discipline when comfort calls your name. It's about choosing purpose when distractions try to seduce you. It's about choosing growth over excuses, peace over drama, and action over procrastination. These small choices shape your destiny more than you realize. These small choices are bricks, and every day you're building a house with them. The question is, are you building a house of strength or a house of regret? And if you've wasted years already, if you've thrown away time, if you live below your potential, hear me clearly. Your story's not over. Your past does not disqualify you. Your mistakes do not diminish you. Your failures do not define you. What defines you is what you do next. What defines you is the moment you decide to rise again. What defines you is the courage to say, I will not waste another day. I will not waste another breath. I will not waste my purpose. Redemption is always possible for the person willing to fight for it. You owe it to yourself to see what you're capable of. You owe it to the younger version of you who dreamed with an open heart. You owe it to the older version of you who will look back and either smile or break. You owe it to the people who believe in you even when you don't. You owe it to the world that needs your voice, your gifts, your strength. And most importantly, you owe it to the life God gave you. You weren't created by accident. You weren't placed here randomly. You were put on this earth with intention, with purpose, with a mission. So live like it. There will be days when you feel tired, days when you feel lost, days when you question whether any of this is worth it. And on those days, you remind yourself of the alternative. Letting your life slip through your fingers, watching time pass while you stand still. Waking up one day and realizing the person staring back at you in the mirror is a stranger wearing a mask of wasted potential. That pain is far heavier than the pain of discipline. That regret is far sharper than the sacrifices you will make today. So when quitting whispers your name, remember the version of yourself you've been running from and the version of yourself you're trying to become. Let that be your fuel. Staying committed doesn't mean you'll be perfect. It means you'll persist. It means on the days you fall, you get back up with more determination. It means on the days you slip, you rise with more awareness. It means on the days your energy is low, your purpose is high. Consistency isn't about never failing. It's about refusing to stay where you fail. It's about refusing to let one bad moment turn into a wasted life. And the beauty of it all is this. Once you decide to stop wasting your life, the world changes before your eyes. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You begin to feel gratitude where you once felt frustration. You begin to feel purpose in the smallest moments. And suddenly life becomes richer, fuller, deeper. You begin to live instead of just survive. You begin to experience instead of just observe. You begin to grow instead of just age. Your future is waiting for you to choose. Your destiny is waiting for you to reach it. Your greatness is waiting for you to claim it. Don't let another day slip away. Don't let another year pass you by. Don't wake up decades from now wishing you had started today. Today is your chance. Today is your turning point. Today is the moment you look yourself in the mirror and say, enough, I refuse to waste my life. Live with urgency, live with intention, live with purpose. And when your story is finally written, when your time on this earth reaches its final chapter, you will not leave with regret. You will leave knowing you lived fully, fought fiercely, loved deeply, and honored every breath. That is how you win. That's how you ride. That is how you make sure your life means something. And that is how you make absolutely sure you did not waste it.